The day was radiant, the kind of sunny afternoon that makes everything seem magical. Linda stood at the edge of the ornate aisle, clutching a delicate lace handkerchief, her heart swelling with pride and worry at the same time. Her only son, Adam, looked every bit the man she had raised, strong, confident, and impossibly happy. Beside him, Emily glided down the aisle in a gown that shimmered like moonlight on water. Her smile was flawless, her posture perfect, and everyone whispered admiringly about how lucky Adam was. Linda forced a bright smile, but a small, persistent unease gnawed at her chest. There was something in Emily's eyes, a flicker of calculation, a fleeting hesitation that didn't match the warmth of her radiant grin. She shook her head. "I'm imagining things. Adam is happy. That's all that matters." The wedding ceremony was a picture of perfection. Vows were exchanged in voices trembling with emotion, hands clasped tightly, promises of forever whispered to one another. The string quartet played softly in the background as Linda dabbed at the corner of her eyes, smiling through tears. Mason, the young wedding photographer, moved quietly among the guests, capturing moments that would last a lifetime. A tear rolling down Adam's cheek, Emily's laughter echoing through the hall, a tender hug between mother and son. At the reception, Emily's speech was flawless. She praised Linda, called her the mother she always dreamed of having, and expressed gratitude for welcoming her so warmly into the family. The guests clapped, moved, and Linda forced herself to return the smile, though a small chill ran down her spine. Something about Emily's tone made her shiver. A subtle sharpness beneath the sweetness, a carefully hidden edge. As the first dance began, Adam and Emily swayed gently, their eyes locked in a way that seemed to promise unending love. Linda watched from the side, her chest tight with conflicting emotions. He's happy, that's what matters. She didn't notice Mason pausing near the back of the hall, his camera still recording, or the subtle glance Emily cast over her shoulder, a smirk barely visible before she returned to the dance. Something was captured that night, hidden in the corner of a frame that would eventually shatter the illusion of perfection. For now, though, everything seemed magical. The flowers glowed under the soft lights, the music carried the warmth of celebration, and Linda allowed herself a fleeting hope that, despite her doubts, her son's happiness was real. Little did she know, the camera had seen what her heart refused to believe, and months later, it would show her a truth she never wanted to face. 6 months had passed since Adam and Emily's wedding, but the warmth of that perfect day seemed like a distant memory to Linda. The apartment she once visited weekly now felt like a stranger's home. The laughter and chatter, replaced by silence, punctuated only by the occasional muffled voice over the phone. Adam rarely called, and when he did, Emily's presence was always faintly intrusive, a shadow between mother and son, controlling the conversation with soft but unmistakable authority. "Mom, we've just been busy," Adam said one evening, his voice tight and strained. Linda's chest ached, but she forced a smile. "Of course, sweetheart. How's work? How's Emily?" "She's fine," Adam replied, too quickly, too carefully. His words sounded measured, rehearsed, like he was protecting someone or hiding something. One weekend, unable to bear the distance, Linda decided to visit unannounced, hoping a home, cooked meal, and some motherly presence might bridge the growing gap. She knocked softly on the apartment door, basket in hand. Emily opened it, her smile polite but thin, almost rehearsed. "Oh, you should have called," Emily said, stepping aside just enough for Linda to enter. "The place is a bit messy." Linda stepped in anyway, ignoring the sharp undertone. "It's fine, dear. I just wanted to see you both." Adam appeared behind Emily, looking fatigued, his shoulders hunched as if carrying the weight of months of quiet tension. He hugged his mother quickly but avoided her gaze. Linda felt a pang in her chest. The boy she had raised to be confident and warm now seemed shadowed, distant, and cautious. Dinner was awkward. Emily's compliments were few and tinged with subtle judgment. She critiqued the food, made comments about Linda's cooking being a little old-fashioned, and even suggested that Linda should let Adam grow up and stop hovering. Each word, carefully measured, struck Linda like tiny knives. She smiled and nodded politely, swallowing the bitterness, unwilling to fight. After leaving that evening, Linda drove home slowly, the basket still warm in her hands. The city lights blurred in the rain, slicked streets as she thought of her son. Adam had always been strong, dependable, kind, but now he seemed drained, as if Emily's words and influence had quietly chipped away at him. Her motherly instincts screamed at her. Something was wrong. Something about Emily was not what it seemed. But how could she confront Adam? How could she accuse the woman he loved without proof? Late that night, Linda sat by the window, the city lights casting shadows across the room, and whispered to herself, "I will not let anyone hurt my son. I just need to know the truth." Little did she know, the truth had already been captured, hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right moment to reveal Emily's carefully concealed betrayal. It was a gray, drizzly afternoon when Linda's phone rang, breaking the quiet hum of her living room. She glanced at the screen and almost didn't recognize the number. "Mrs. Cooper, this is Mason from Adam and Emily's wedding," said the voice on the other end, hesitant, almost shaky. Linda's stomach twisted. Mason, the young photographer who had captured every moment of that beautiful, painful day. "Mason, is everything all right?" she asked, her voice tight with sudden apprehension. There was a pause. I've been meaning to call for months," he admitted. "I was going through the wedding footage for my portfolio and I found something. Something I think you need to see." Linda's heart raced. "Something about Adam and Emily. Yes, please can we meet? I don't want to explain it over the phone." 2 hours later, Linda sat across from Mason in a quiet cafe, the sound of rain tapping against the windows. He opened his laptop and hesitated, as if afraid that opening the file might somehow break the world she thought she knew. "Mrs. Cooper, I never intended for you to see this," Mason began softly. "I didn't notice it at the time, and I thought maybe it was nothing, but when I reviewed the footage recently, I couldn't stop thinking about it." Linda leaned in, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. "Show me," she whispered. Mason played the video. The screen showed the reception hall in soft, grainy footage. Guests laughed, clinked glasses, and danced. Then, in a corner near the back, Emily appeared. She was smiling, laughing, but it wasn't Adam she was speaking to. A man stepped closer, not Adam, but her boss, Greg. The camera, accidentally left recording behind a decorative curtain, had captured them leaning toward each other. Their whispers were barely audible, but then, the unthinkable, they kissed. A long, intimate kiss, right on the night of her son's wedding. Linda felt the blood drain from her face. Her hands shook as she gripped the edge of the table. When did this happen?" she managed, her voice trembling. During the reception, Mason said quietly, "Right after the ceremony. I didn't notice at the time. I thought maybe it was nothing, but now, I couldn't ignore it. I had to call you." Tears stung Linda's eyes. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. Her son had given Emily his heart, his trust, his life, and she had betrayed him before they even began their marriage. Mason closed the laptop gently. "I should have said something sooner," he admitted. "I didn't want to get involved, but I couldn't just keep it from you." Linda nodded, swallowing hard. Her mind raced. Rage, sorrow, disbelief, they collided inside her like storm waves. She could feel her son's pain in advance, even before he knew. I have to think," she said finally, her voice barely above a whisper. Mason reached across and squeezed her hand. "You're doing the right thing, Linda. Just be careful. Approach this with truth, not anger." Linda left the cafe with the weight of the video pressing on her chest. The betrayal had been captured, undeniable and stark. She had no plan yet, only the resolve to protect her son. The moment of truth was coming, and when it did, Emily would discover that the truth could not be hidden, no matter how perfect her smile had seemed that day. Linda didn't act in anger. She knew that confronting Emily with fury would only shatter Adam, and he didn't deserve that. She needed a plan that would reveal the truth without tearing her son apart, a revelation rooted in dignity and honesty, not malice. A week after Mason's call, Linda invited Adam over to her home under the pretense of dinner. She had spent hours preparing his favorite meal, setting the table with care, hoping the ordinary comfort of home would soften the blow of the extraordinary truth she had to share. When Adam arrived, he noticed the unusual quietness in his mother's home, the soft music playing in the background, the candles flickering. He smiled faintly, sensing something was off. "Mom, what's going on?" he asked, concern threading his voice. Linda gestured for him to sit, her hands trembling slightly. "There's something you need to see," she said softly. She opened her laptop and played the video. Adam's eyes widened as he recognized Emily and Greg. His fork fell from his hand, clattering against the plate. The room went silent, except for the faint sound of the video in the background. "Mom, that's her," he whispered, disbelief and hurt mingling in his voice. "Yes," Linda said, her own voice breaking. "I didn't want to believe it either. But Mason, the photographer, captured it by accident. I couldn't ignore it." Adam sank into his chair, running a hand through his hair. His face was pale, his lips pressed in a thin line. I thought I knew her," he muttered, his voice barely audible. I can't believe this." Linda reached across and held his hand. "Sweetheart, you didn't do anything wrong. You loved her with all your heart. But some people, they show their true selves in ways we can't ignore. And now, you know the truth before it destroys you." Completely. Over the next few days, Adam confronted Emily quietly, armed with the undeniable truth. She first tried to deny it, then begged for forgiveness, but the evidence left no room for lies. Her carefully constructed life began to crumble, both in front of Adam and at her workplace. Within a month, Emily was gone, her perfect image shattered, her control over Adam completely broken. Linda watched from the sidelines, her heart heavy but resolute. Her son's pain was real, but the shadow that had been cast over him was lifting. Slowly, Adam began to breathe again, laugh again, reclaim the life that had been quietly poisoned. 6 months later, Mason sent Linda an invitation. It was his wedding. She attended, and Adam was there too, smiling in a way Linda hadn't seen in months, free, genuine, and unguarded. He was the best man, supporting his friend with warmth and joy. During the reception, Mason approached Linda. "Sometimes the camera sees what the heart refuses to admit," he said quietly. Linda smiled, a tear slipping down her cheek. "And sometimes," she replied softly, "it helps heal what's broken." For the first time in months, Linda felt at peace. The betrayal had been exposed, but it had not destroyed her family. Her son had learned the truth without it being forced upon him in anger. Justice had been served quietly, firmly, and beautifully. As she watched Adam laugh with friends and future possibilities stretching before him, Linda whispered to herself, "He's happy now. That's all that matters." And for the first time in half a year, she allowed herself to breathe. The storm had passed, and the sunlight that followed was brighter than ever.